Welcome back to another episode of Hearts Unlocked. If you're new here, welcome to the family of Hearts Unlocked. I'm your host, Veronica, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about the importance of setting boundaries in your personal and as well as your professional lives. Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no to things that drain your energy or saying no to things you don't like. It's more about creating a space where you can resound a yes to what truly matters. But how do you actually go about it? If you were to ask me about setting boundaries like 3 to 4 years ago, my answer would be mostly like boundaries. What are boundaries? How do you set boundaries? Is it necessary to really set boundaries with people around you? That would be me talking like 3 years ago. But now, Veronica have changed. Boundaries are really important to set a healthy lifestyle, to set a healthy relationship, or to set a healthy friendship. Let it be anything. Boundaries play a major role. Kick things off, let's talk about what boundaries are and why are they so important. Boundaries are the emotional, physical, and mental limits we establish to protect our well-being. They help us define our sense of self, and they are the key components of our healthy relationship, as I've already mentioned before. They actually keep us safe and guide us in the right direction. So the first thing what we think of when setting boundaries is that boundaries are to be set only with people whom we are not comfortable with, or we do not have a rapport with, or maybe they're just colleagues or teammates whom are not that close with us. That is when boundaries come into picture. No, boundaries are to be set with everyone. Let it be your friends, your close friends, your partners, your best friends, even with your family, your siblings, every single person. Boundaries are to be set with everyone. Okay, let us dive into an example of setting boundaries with friends. So, while you're setting boundaries with friends, it's also important for maintaining a healthy and respectful relationship with them as well. So, there are different types of boundaries. You can, like, maybe a boundary of respecting their personal space. That is also a boundary. So, let us look at an example. For example, your friend comes to your home unannounced every now and then. But at start, you're okay with it. You're like, okay, she's my friend or he's my friend. It's okay to come to my home unannounced. But sometimes you just need that alone time, your me time, you call it as the lone space. But during that time, what if your friend just pops up, knock your door? So you just need to set a boundary over there, need to set your intention straight to them, saying that, hey, it's not okay to show up unannounced at my home. I just need some lone time every now and then. So it would be great if you just, let me know beforehand, like maybe an hour or so that it would be great, or so that I'll let you know if it's okay to pop up or something like that. No, it's not rude at the same time. You're not being rude. At the same time, you're just letting them know about your boundaries. So that is called setting up a personal boundary with a friend. So it's crucial to know the limit and communicate with them clearly. So actually, boundaries can be a bit tricky to navigate. So we often face challenges when establishing them. We might think, oh, is it going to come out rude or he or she has been my best friend since ages. How can I just say something like that out of the blue? I mean, sometimes we mistaken boundaries as maybe like blaming someone or accusing someone, or you can feel it as guilty, fear, or whatever, you being selfish. No, there's always a thin line between setting up a boundary and being selfish, or setting up a boundary and being rude. There's always thin line between that. Okay, let us take another example of setting boundaries with a friend. Okay, for example, if you find your friend often inviting you to some events or inviting you to parties, but you prefer just one-on-one time with them, alone time with them, or alone time with yourself, or the conditions at your home is not as favorable as theirs, wherein you can't keep on just popping out or going out for a party, or wherein you have a lot of things to deal at home. See, none of you guys are to be blamed here. None of you guys are at wrong. Your friend loves your company, loves to be with you. So he or she keep on inviting you to a party because she loves your company, he loves your company, they want to be with you. But at the same time, you have your things to deal with. You have multiple things to deal with. You have a lot on your plate. You have your family, you have your other friends, you have your team, you have your colleagues. You have a lot on your plate, but it's just about how do you explain to them? How do you set your boundaries over there? So don't come out rude, but just tell them in a very subtle way. Let them know that you appreciate the parties, you appreciate them calling you, and you just appreciate the value they have, the connection they have with you. But also express your need of balance. Express your need of you need to stay at home taking care of your family, or you need to be with your cousins at that time, or whatsoever your reason is. Express to them. Just tell to them face to face and explain them. Obviously they do understand, they are your friends or best friend for a reason. Recently I got a question from one of my friend asking, how do I overcome the guilt of saying no to someone? Yeah, okay, that's actually a very great question, because many of us suffer from guilt, or many of us we do undergo guilt just because we say no to someone. So it's actually very, very important to remember that setting boundary is an act of self-care, self-love. It's not selfishness. You can say no and at the same time not have guilt. It's just by explaining your boundaries kindly, or explaining your boundaries in a way the opposite person understands. And you can also come up with some alternative plans, like, as I said before, for example, you have been invited to a party but you can't make it. Explain your situation, why you can't make it, and also just give an alternative plan, like if it was the next Sunday, I could make it, or if it's maybe 2 hours later, it's a possibility that I would be done with my work and I would be able to attend the party. Something like that. Just come up with some alternative. Okay, now let us jump into boundaries with family. Let it be your relatives, let it be your siblings. How do you set boundaries with them? So you need to have some privacy boundaries, like, how do you, you usually have privacy boundaries with your friends or with your colleagues. Like, see, this is my privacy. You should not, trespass in my privacy, kind of a thing. So set that same kind of boundary with your relatives, with your cousins. Tell them you need your personal space and privacy. Let them know that you prefer knocking on your door before they entering into your room, or you prefer asking permission before they use your belongings, or you prefer them not to touch some of your belongings because they mean something sentimental to you, all this kind of stuff. When you do not communicate, obviously the other person would not know what are you up to. They just can't read your mind. So the key thing is communication. The next up, maybe emotional boundaries. Not everyone handle their emotion in one certain way. There is no right way or wrong way of handling an emotion. It's just your way of handling emotion. Sometimes you might feel, they asking you questions about your emotions or questions about your personal life is just off limit. So let them know that, hey, excuse me, I feel you're just going a little crossing your line or little out of my boundary. I just need some space. Thank you so much. Or let them know what are the topics where you can discuss and what are the topics are beyond, their limit, or which is beyond your discussion zone. Let them know, this is the way how I handle my emotions. And if you feel uncomfortable, please step aside. I'll just sort myself out. Something like that. You'll have a number of ways. Just talk it through. You guys might have already known that boundaries aren't limited to just one aspect of your life. They can be applied at your work, relationships, your families, etc., etc. Let's just explore how setting boundaries can enhance our experience in various areas. Okay, let us talk about myself. I feel that setting boundaries at work not only reduced stress, but it's also improved my productivity and job satisfaction. For example, I've been bombarded with a lot of work. I would make sure the other person knows, let it be my manager or my team lead or my fellow colleagues. I make sure they know that, hey, I already have a lot on my plate and I would like to deliver the things which are on my plate with full-fledged concentration and quality. So I would prefer quality over quantity. So could you please give it a pause, or if you don't mind, could you please assign it to someone else? So it's just about open communication. Obviously, you don't want to stress yourself with a lot of work. You do need some work-life balance, don't you? Okay, before we wrap up our today's episode, let us just summarize on some practical tips for setting effective boundaries. First, know your limits. It's not necessary, when you set boundaries with others do also set some boundaries with you. So just know your limits, practice clear and effective communication with them. That is a P0. Please do practice some clear communications with people. And prioritize self-care, self-love. You do need that always. And be consistent on upholding your boundaries. Let it be any situation and anywhere. And do please comment down below on how did you set up your boundaries with your friends, colleagues, families, and I would like to listen on your boundary stories. And that's all for today's episode of Hearts Unlocked. We hope you have found it insightful and empowering. If you have any questions or any other topics would you like me to cover in my future episodes, just comment down below and stay tuned till the next episode. Till then, bye bye, adios.